There is a type of silence that isn't about emptiness. It's the profound stillness that comes just before a grand symphony starts. It's the quiet tension you can feel in the air moments before a cleansing rain. The current stillness in your life might not be a halt, but rather a period of deep preparation. You've likely sensed it, a sudden lack of interest in the very things that once gave you a thrill, the feeling that your old ambitions now seem hollow, even as your new aspirations have yet to take shape. You are no longer the person you once were, but you're not yet certain who you are becoming. The experience is disorienting. On some days, it can feel like you are coming apart. On others, it feels as though you're on the cusp of something immense, yet just out of sight. This isn't a state of chaos. This is the space in between. The soul doesn't announce its transformations with loud proclamations. It communicates through whispers of discomfort, a sense of fatigue, vivid dreams, and unexpected urges to change everything about your life. You are not lost. You are shedding an old skin. And by the time you finish this video, you will understand the deeper indicators, not the superficial motivational quotes we are so often shown, but the soul-level symbols that signify you are not breaking down, but are in the process of being reborn. As the great thinker Carl Jung understood, this rebirth doesn't start with clarity. It begins within the shadows. Carl Jung held the belief that the most significant journeys we take in life don't start from a place of certainty. They begin with a process of dissolution. He named this the journey of individuation, a sacred unwinding of all the roles, personas, and expectations we have gathered throughout our lives, allowing our authentic self to finally step forward. And the catalyst for this entire process? It is often the very discomfort you are feeling right now, the subtle awareness that life is calling for something more from you in ways you can't quite articulate. Jung wrote that there is no evolution of consciousness without difficulty, because the old version of the self must pass away for the true one to be born. This isn't about achieving conventional success or finally having everything figured out. The greatest stage of your life is not measured by your accomplishments, but by what you are able to integrate into your being. It is a time when the shadow is no longer a source of fear, but is welcomed. A time when your inner child is no longer pushed aside, but is embraced. A time when your identity ceases to be a performance and becomes a genuine presence. This is what it signifies to step into your most luminous stage, where your external life at last starts to mirror the soul you have carried within you all along. So, if your life currently feels uncertain, strange, or filled with subtle changes, you may not be adrift. You might just be standing at a new beginning. Let's explore the 4 signs that your soul is preparing you for its most radiant chapter yet. Sign number 1. The things that once brought you fulfillment no longer do. It starts subtly. A gentle disinterest in the hobbies and activities that once excited you. A job that once provided a sense of purpose now feels like you are merely playing a role. Conversations seem superficial, and personal achievements feel empty. Even the pleasures that used to bring you joy no longer have the same effect. It's akin to waking up one day and discovering you have outgrown your favorite clothes from your youth, not because there was anything wrong with them, but because you have simply evolved beyond them. In Jungian terms, this is the start of ego detachment. The constructed self, the persona we adopt to navigate the world, is starting to lose its hold. The masks you wore to fit in, to gain approval, or to prove your worth now feel uncomfortable. What once solidified your identity now feels inauthentic. You are not broken. You are being emptied of what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. However, this transition is not always a smooth one. It often involves a shadow phase, a period of disillusionment. You might experience feelings of apathy, restlessness, or even a sense of loss. This is because letting go of the old does not yet provide a clear vision of the new. You are existing between identities, too far from your past self to return, and too uncertain of the future to move forward with confidence. But this discomfort is a sacred signal. It indicates that something deeper is preparing to emerge. Your soul is creating space. What used to satisfy your ego is no longer enough to nourish your essence. The hunger for fulfillment remains, but it now craves something more authentic, more aligned, and more true. This is not a loss. It is a shedding of an old self that can no longer support the weight of your personal awakening. You may feel more empty, but you are living more honestly. You may feel more alone, but you are closer to your own truth. So, if life feels unusually quiet or dull, resist the urge to immediately fill the void. Something profound is on its way, and your soul is clearing the space for its arrival. Allow it to happen. Sign number 2. You are encountering parts of yourself you have long avoided. It can begin as a faint whisper, an unusual emotion, a vivid dream, or a reaction you cannot logically explain. Then, all at once, it feels as though a long, locked door within you has creaked open, allowing light to pour into places that have been kept in darkness for years. You find yourself face to face with emotions you believed were long gone, memories you had forgotten, and aspects of your personality you thought you had left behind. This is the moment Jung referred to as shadow integration. The repressed self, the facets of your personality, memories, and emotions that you learned to hide to feel safe or accepted, begins to surface. It doesn't rise to sabotage you or undo your progress, but rather to be seen, to be accepted, and to be returned to your whole self. This process can be confusing and even challenging. You might find yourself feeling more emotional than usual, and old triggers may intensify. Things you were certain you had moved past might reappear with greater intensity. Perhaps the most disorienting aspect is the feeling of being less in control, as if the carefully constructed version of yourself is slipping away. But this is not a step backward. It is a process of reintegration. Your soul is not asking you to regress. It is inviting you to go deeper inward, to welcome home the parts of you that had to be sent away for you to cope in the past, the angry part, the needy part, the fearful, wild, and grieving parts of you. On the surface, these inner returns can look like turmoil, but what is truly happening is the restoration of wholeness. The fragmentation of your inner world is coming to an end. You are no longer willing to live in separate pieces. What you once might have labeled as breakdowns are, in reality, breakthroughs in disguise. The truth is, You are not falling apart. You are falling inward. And that is where your true power has always resided, in the quiet center of your authentic self, the one that doesn't require fixing, only remembering. So, if you are confronting yourself more deeply than ever before, do not turn away. You are not being tested. You are being reunited with the parts of your soul that are finally ready to come home. Sign number 3. Your life seems to be a series of meaningful coincidences. You might glance at your phone and see the time is 11:11. A song might play on the radio that perfectly reflects a thought you just had. A stranger in a cafe might say something that feels like it was meant directly for you. You might have an obscure dream, only to see it manifest in your waking life days later. These occurrences are not random. Carl Jung gave this phenomenon a name: synchronicity. These are meaningful coincidences that lack a clear causal connection but feel far too precise to be dismissed. According to Jung, these moments happen when your conscious and unconscious minds are in alignment. As your inner world shifts, the outer world begins to respond, not in a logical way, but in a symbolic one. These synchronicities are like breadcrumbs left by your soul. They indicate the presence of the self, the archetype of wholeness, which is now taking a more active role in guiding your life. An increase in synchronicity often signals that you are approaching a significant threshold, a new direction, a major life choice, or a spiritual evolution. You are not lost. You are being guided. The signs may not always make sense to your rational mind, but they will speak directly to something deeper within you. A gut feeling, a sense of familiarity, a subtle and sacred knowing. This isn't about magical thinking. It's about living a symbolic life. When you begin to live from a place of inner connection, integrate your shadow, listen to your dreams, and follow your inner truth, the external world mirrors that depth back to you. What once appeared random now feels rhythmic. What once felt chaotic now feels imbued with meaning. So, if your life suddenly seems to be communicating through riddles and signs, pay close attention. That isn't confusion. It is communication. The soul does not shout. It whispers through patterns, poetry, numbers, symbols, and moments that shimmer with a special resonance. Follow them. The path ahead may not be perfectly clear, but it will be real, and it will be uniquely yours. You are no longer wandering without direction. You are answering a call, a quiet but persistent call, toward the life you were always meant to live. Sign number 4. You feel simultaneously excited and terrified. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a magnificent cliff. The view before you is breathtaking, and the air is charged with energy. Your heart is beating faster, not from panic, but from a sense of recognition. You have a deep knowing that something incredible is waiting for you just beyond that edge, and yet your feet are hesitant to move. This is the paradox of transformation. Carl Jung taught that all genuine change is preceded by a symbolic ending, the passing of old identities, outdated roles, and false feelings of safety. With that ending comes a trembling sense of aliveness, a state where fear and excitement are coiled together in the very same breath. This emotional cocktail is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is a sign that you are right on time. Because fear, in moments like these, is not always a warning. Sometimes it is a threshold. It represents the final layer of resistance just before a major breakthrough. Your ego will want to retreat to what is comfortable. It will disguise its panic with logic, whispering thoughts like, "You aren't ready for this," or "Let's wait a little longer." But your soul is already halfway across that cliff, calling back to you. This is the sacred duality of rebirth. It thrills you and terrifies you in equal measure. That is how you know it is real. That is how you know it truly matters. When you are stepping into a new chapter that is aligned with your true self, do not expect to feel completely calm. Expect to feel fully alive. Expect trembling hands and a pounding heart. Expect to feel as though you are leaving behind everything you thought you needed, only to discover what you truly are. So, if your dreams feel too large, too strange, too beautiful, and too impossible all at the same time, that is a good sign. It means they were not born from your ego, they were born from your soul. And the soul does not concern itself with playing small. This isn't the end of who you were. It is the beginning of who you have always been. If you are trembling, you are awakening. If you are afraid, but are still taking a step forward, you are not failing. You are transforming. Stand at that edge, feel the wind on your face, allow the fear to be present, and walk forward anyway. Because what is waiting for you on the other side is the truest version of you. As you stand on this edge, afraid, exhilarated, and ready, remember this. Transformation is not just a concept. It is an embodied experience. Take a quiet moment. Feel the air around you. Feel your feet connected to the ground. Place your hand over your heart. Whisper softly to yourself, "I release the life that no longer fits me. I trust the becoming that I cannot yet fully see." Now take a deep breath. Not for the person you have been, but for the person who is quietly rising from within. Later, perhaps you can reflect on this with a journal. Ask yourself, what have I outgrown? What new part of me is emerging, even if I don't fully understand it yet? What am I afraid to leave behind, and why? And tonight, consider lighting a candle, not in mourning for the past, but in honor of your journey. You are not just closing a chapter. You are answering a sacred call, not to be who you once were, but to become who you were always meant to be. You are not behind schedule. You are in a state of becoming. The shedding, the silence, and the aching that you feel, it is not a step backward. It is a resurrection. Your soul is stretching. Your path is shifting. And the you that is arriving has been waiting for this moment. The best stage of your life won't start under a spotlight. It begins right here, in the quiet courage to let go, to listen to your inner world, and to trust the unseen process of becoming. If you feel scared and alive at the same time, you are not lost. You are on the verge. This is not the end. It is the edge, and just beyond it lies a life that finally matches your soul, a life that feels like coming home. Thank you for joining us at Echoes of Psyche, where we believe every ending is a new doorway, and the next evolution of you is already awakening. If this message resonated with you, consider sharing your thoughts and subscribing for more journeys into the heart of transformation.